Howdy all, Mojang Lives. I think it's time we play a little Minecraft. Oh man, I having a quiet Sunday afternoon apparently. Uh, I kind of took yesterday off from making any videos. Skipped one of my regulars since I had two already recorded. I don't know where this cold came from, but I was doing pretty good. I was feeling great, and then Thursday, like a ton of bricks. Just within the matter of a couple of hours. I don't think I've had a cold come on this fast, this strongly in a long time. I just got over the last one, too. Stupid thing. This is what happens when you go to parties with people. This is all I can figure. I went out, New Year's with a bunch of people, hanging out with all of them and their disease-infested children. Oh. Hey, spider. Oh, that must be my sword. Do I have Bane of Arthropods on this? I do. I was like, why is that spider got all those little things around it? I forgot that's what came up when I enchanted this thing. Yeah, oh, my head hurts so much. But anyways, I still don't have a bow. I've really got to get a bow to deal with these stupid creepers, man. Can't have them wandering in here and blowing up my stuff. Alright, I'm going to need a little bit of this. That was more than a little. I got back with my quartz. I have placed my, quartz. Alright. I actually think I'm going to go ahead and use the acacia as stools. Shoot. I can't though. That's alright. I can, I just can't use these. I think you can make acacia pressure plates now, so this will work great. I'm going to go back and get some iron. I've got a plan. I think this works. I can't remember. We'll try. Maybe I'll make a bow while I'm there. I have arrows. Do I really not have a bow on me? That's so weird. I've got so many arrows and no bow. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, we didn't do the family D&D again today. It's only been like 2 months now. I didn't know if we were going to be doing it today anyways, since I'm I would have done it. But I wasn't consulted. They canceled, and one of them went to the movies, and I didn't find out that we weren't doing it until right before we normally do it. And they're like, oh, well, you're sick, and so oh, I don't have enough string. So we decided yesterday we wouldn't be doing it. So you could have let me know yesterday. That would have been fine. Yesterday would have been a good time to say, hey, we're not going to do it tomorrow because, got plans. Not, oh, yeah, by the way, now that we're about ready for our normal start time, we're not gonna do it today. Actually, I no, it was after dinner. It was after dinner before anyone even said that my sister had gone to the movies. Um, so yeah, no, nobody says anything to me. Oh man, speaking about not saying anything. Oh shoot, I forgot my stuff. Right, I made the bow and then I forgot what I was over there for. So Friday, I had a long week at work this week. Uh, I I was at work until like almost every night until at least 9 o'clock. One night I was at work till 10. And so Friday, which I normally try to have everything done, I still had work to do, and because it was just that busy, and so I worked on Friday, and when I got up, it was chilly, but you know, it didn't feel cold to me because I'd just gotten out of bed and I was still super warm from being under the covers, I guess. And so I come upstairs and I noticed it was a little chillier upstairs than it was downstairs. And one of them is like, "Furnace isn't working again." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So they're like, "Yeah, yeah, we took care of it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I went about my day, and uh, they said it was 62 when they got up. They had done some stuff, and the temperature was on its way back up. So I really need. I guess I don't need to replace that. I've got so many acacias here. And so later, I just figured it was taking a while for the repairman to get here. Since the furnace wasn't working correctly, you'd call the repairman. And I'll just make all 15. And so waiting, and it starts to get cold again. So I go and I check the furnace, and um, whatever the deal is with our furnace, it has an issue with the. Uh, where do I put my? It's over here. Oh, but over here might be. Yes, iron bars, just what I need. I just grabbed a record out of there for no reason. Let's try the iron bars instead. That's what I want. And so it has a problem with the igniter control. It seems like we have to replace that like every couple of years. Uh, and I don't know if it's like a problem with the wiring in the house or if it's just a part that burns out. I think the trick is that um, it's designed for uh, a furnace that keeps your house warm, but our sit-up uses the furnace as the water boiler as well for the water heater. And so we don't have a water heater. We have a water tank that fills up with hot water from the furnace because it's all the same thing, anyways. But I sometimes wonder if our furnace isn't designed to be a furnace and not a furnace slash water heater, and so it's getting way more use than it normally should. Okay, space. Yep. Okay. So I can put one of these every other one, and then I'm gonna see if these will. Oh, they won't sit on top. Oh man, I was gonna use those because I wanted little iron ones, but I guess I'm gonna have to go with wood. I think these go on top of posts, don't they? I can use carpet too. I didn't think about that. Carpet will go on top of posts if these won't go on top of posts. All right, back to the drawing board then. Um, and so anyways, it starts to get cold. I reset the furnace. It's the control that goes bad, and so when you reset it, it lights up that first time, but it won't light up after that because it's on demand. And I mean, the furnace isn't on. I don't know. It technically, I suppose, is sort of on demand. Uh, and so it doesn't have a pilot light, anyways. It ignites when it's in use, and so the control controls the igniters. And since the control doesn't work right, the igniter's not coming on, and so it doesn't do anything. It just the pump comes on and pumps the water through the pipes and just sits there. That's it. Running cold water through the pipes. And so reset it. It comes back on. Temperature starts going back up. It's got like a 15 or 20-minute window where it'll run, and then it shuts off the fire because the water's hot, and then it waits for the water to cool back down, and then when the water cools back down, that's when it reignites. Well, it's not reigniting. And so I get up, I get come out of my office, go to the utility room, check the furnace, reset it again, go back to my office. One of them comes down from upstairs, the one who told me they had taken care of things, and uh, okay, let me make sure this works before I head back out there. Yeah, there we go. And so I'm like, all right. So he comes down to check it. He's like, well, it seems to be working. I'm like, because I just reset it. And he's like, oh, okay. And so then he just goes on his way. So that's the third time that he has been aware that it's not working after he said he'd taken care of it. And so then later in the evening, uh, I had reset it like 4 or 5 times, and then there was like an hour and a half gap where I was super busy and didn't have time to go reset it. And so I think the warmest we got Friday was about 68 degrees, which is pretty good. And and so I reset it, and then one of them comes down, and different one of the guys from upstairs comes down, and I'm like, yeah, I just checked it and reset it. It wasn't working still, and I was kind of surprised that the repairman hadn't shown up. I'm sure you can imagine where this is going at this point. And so uh, he just keeps walking toward the utility room, and I'm like, yeah, I just reset it. Wait, I don't need pearls on here, do I? Oh yeah, I do. Could not remember which place I hadn't been to the end yet on. This is the one I haven't been to the end yet because I haven't taken the time to get the pearls for it. I've never had this much problems getting pearls before in a game though. Anyways, so yeah, so he ignores me. He keeps walking. He stands there. I'm like, yeah, I just reset it. It's running right now. I just reset it. He opens the door. He goes in there. I hear him say, "Huh, it's working." I'm like, "Yeah, I just reset it." And he's like, "Well, I mean, the pipe feels cold, so maybe it's not working." I'm like, "I just reset it." Obviously, he's not listening to me, and so he comes out. He's like, "I don't know. It seems like it's working. It's making noise, but the pipe is cold." I'm like, "Yeah, because I just reset it." He's like, well, it's the pipe that I think should be warm is cold though. Yeah, cause I just reset it. Oh, you just reset it? Yeah. Wow. You should listen. So come to find out, they didn't call the repairman. They didn't call the repairman. And yeah, there was no repairman coming. I'd been waiting all day because they'd taken care of it. You know what? If it keeps shutting off and you told me you took care of it, I assume that means you called the repairman. I guess I shouldn't have assumed. So they call the repairman, who of course isn't going to come out at 8 o'clock at night when they finally decided to call. Uh, I guess we should call the repairman. You didn't? No. Really? No. Why would we call the repairman? Because the furnace wasn't working, and it's like 0 degrees outside. So, anyways, it's warm today. They came out, they fixed it before I got out of bed Saturday. Not that that's saying much because I was in bed a long time on Saturday. Uh, I really didn't feel well Friday, and I they were all making jokes about how I was wearing sweatpants and a jacket because I normally just wear a t-shirt and shorts because it's like 72 degrees in the house and that's plenty warm for me. And so they think it's funny that I had to put on, long clothes because it was cold. I don't understand why that's a thing to. Aha, look at you using clothes to combat against the cold because it's 63 degrees in the house. Oh, I can't believe you're not still wearing your summer clothing. You people need to get better jokes. I was gonna say better hobbies, but I don't know. They irritate me. That really irritates me. That stuff. Oh right. I was trying to think what I went over there for. I need a trapdoor made out of acacia wood. I don't remember how to make trapdoors. Uh, if I wanted to be a trapdoor, does that show up on my list anywhere since I have wood? I don't remember how to make trapdoors. I want to say a trapdoor is like 6 of these? Yes. There we go. Okay. Ta-da. Alright, now this is going to have to change back here. Uh, yeah, oh, I felt so bad Friday. I stayed in bed for like 13 hours. I don't know. I'm not feeling the best day either. It's like a fist is just shoved in between my eyeballs. Uh, and it really came on super sudden. I wish it would go away super sudden, but it hasn't so far. So, but yeah, we did play D&D last night with my Wednesday night group because we skipped Wednesday night for no reason, as far as I can tell. And we haven't played in a couple of weeks, and so I was feeling a little better last night. I don't feel horrible like I did on Friday. I just can't breathe, and so the I mean I can breathe. I just can't breathe through my nose. And so 2 weeks ago we finished off our Wednesday night D&D group, and we had ended at a tower, and it was described to us as an old rickety stone tower with scaffolding around it. We'd seen two guys go in the side of it. There's a door in the front, but it was full of rubble. And so we're thinking, oh, all right. So this tower is breaking down, obviously. Uh, and so we said we would like to smash it and knock it to the ground. Well, our DM doesn't really like us to do anything fun, and that's what we say. And so he said, "Oh, look, I have acacia saplings on me." Huh. He said, "I'm not figuring that stuff out tonight, so we're just gonna end it right here." That's the tone he had. That's how we ended for the night 3 weeks ago, because we didn't play for 2 weeks. And so, what am I gonna do for flooring in there? Um, yeah, whistling at me is not helpful. Uh, what have I got in the old concrete here? I can make some gray. I have some gray concrete. It's kind of dark. I mean, it's the kitchen area, so it might work. Let's go see. And so, because I don't want anything fancy, right? So I'm thinking just like plain flooring. That's all they got in there, plain flooring. And so we get to this week, and we want to confirm what he said last time because he likes to change things, and then you try to do something, and then he changes what you're doing, and so you have to constantly correct him on what you say you're doing, or else he'll do something totally different. Like you'll say, "All right, we're gonna travel across this valley until we get to the till we get near the tunnel that we're supposed to explore." And so then he'll be like, "All right, so you guys openly travel across the valley and then march right up to the front of the tunnel." Is that what we said? That's not what we said. Uh, and because you've just marched up to the tunnel, the manticore inside knows you're coming, and it comes out and it attacks you. And so uh, yeah, so we're like, okay, so you said there was rubble coming out the door. There's no door. Like, oh, well, I thought you said last time we played there was a door. I wrote it here in my notes. Door with rubble coming out. Rickety. It's kind of dark, but I guess it'll work. And so so we he tells us there's scaffolding, but now the rickety tower is no longer rickety. It's quote 200 feet tall and made out of 10 to 15 foot thick stone blocks. Uh, the problem is we're playing a module which is done by someone else, and the walls are clearly like maybe 2 feet thick, maybe more like no, they weren't even 2 feet thick because it's 2.5. Uh, they're like a foot thick, maybe. And so I mean, a foot thick is pretty thick, but it's no longer rickety. It's a massive, 10 to 15 foot thick walls, and like they're maps. He's got the maps. He's got the book. the maps tell you, the maps show you how big this thing is. And so the map clearly says less than 100 feet tall. And there's a side view of the tower. And so because he doesn't make maps. We spent our entire night in the side view of this tower working our way up the floors because he wouldn't let us knock it down from the outside. Everything we tried to do, he was like, well, we're like, okay, so I want to check the. After he finally admitted there was a doorway on the front, first he tells us there's no doorway on the front. There are no entrances into this tower except the one you see where the crossbowmen you saw before entered. And then I'm like, okay, I thought there was a door. I wrote that in my notes, but I guess maybe I meant the one on the side. Let me read you exactly the description of the tower. So he reads the description, and it says there's a doorway. The main doorway is full of rubble. And so I'm like, okay, what kind of rubble? Man, I've got a lot of great concrete. And I thought I was going to have to come back and make some, but no, I can just take this. And so then he says it's completely full of stone rubble from the collapsed floors in the inside of the tower. Stone, huh? And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, you could spend 2 hours maybe shifting the rubble with everybody trying to get inside through here. And he keeps this countdown thing. Like, I don't know what he thinks he's going to do, but he's like, 30 seconds have passed. A minute has passed. Uh, and, uh, uh, and so we're like, okay, well, because I discussed what we were going to do with the other guy, and we talked about how we were going to set the whole thing on fire and just burn them out. And but we couldn't do that because suddenly everything changed to being made of 15-foot thick stone walls, and the rubble that was wood is now stone. And because the rubble isn't rubble, the rubble is furniture and flooring from the collapsed floors, and there are guys in there who are burning it away to uncover a doorway at the bottom of the tower. And so it's the same rubble I wanted to burn away, but I couldn't because ours was made of stone, but theirs is made of wood. And in fact, I think they set the floor on fire at one point against us. Okay, now I need what? I need. You know, the problem with putting this thing like this is we can't put anything on the countertop. Kind of like this too. Well, I guess I just won't have anything on the countertop. I could put it behind it though. It's usually like a little work area back here, right? Okay, so we gotta get a cash register in here. And I'm gonna need like a sink, a couple of sinks, flat top refrigerators, stuff like that. So we'll have to do stuff like that. But yeah, so we wound up having to go up through the tower because we weren't allowed to knock it down. The map is drawn incorrectly according to the squares, and so each square is supposed to be 5 foot on a side, but he doesn't make the maps. He just uses the maps. And so he seems to be incapable of adapting the maps. And so the Side view of the tower, 2.5 squares is 5 feet, according to the scale on the left side of this tower map. Looking at it on the other part of the map, where you're looking down instead of a side view, the tower is about 25 feet across. If you use the 2.5 feet to a block on the side view map, the tower is about 25 feet across. But we wanted to shove people off into the open pit area so they would fall. And he said, well, you can only shove people 5 feet, and that's 15 feet across. And we're like, but the map says it's 2.5 squares for 5 feet. He's like, that's just up and down, side to side, it's 5 feet. Well, except the tower's not 60 feet across on the other map. Look, I can show you on the other map where it's 60 feet across. I'm like, that's only if you include the scaffolding on the outside, and that only gets you up to 35 feet. So no, it's not. So we had to play with a weird up and down. Every 2.5 squares was 5 feet, but side to side, every square was 5 feet. And then there was a point where we got up to you're going up stairways, and the guys above don't, for some reason, come down to attack us, and so we're clearing it one floor at a time, and we have an order that we go in, and so my rogue, that's now part rogue, part fighter, because our fighter, who is his monk, won't stay at the front lines to keep the non-fighters safer, because he's, quote, a coward now. And he runs up, he attacks, and then he runs away and hides behind the sorcerer, leaving the sorcerer and the thief to frontline against everything. And so I have switched over from thief to fighter with my thief at this point. Although I think the next 2 levels are going to be thief instead of fighter. But yeah, so we have an order where it's usually the thief followed by the war cleric, who is more like a fighter than a cleric. I didn't grab anything. Dang it. I specifically came back here to grab some stuff and I didn't bring any of it. And so it's cold, man. It's like I'm in a daze. So I don't want white concrete. I want some light gray concrete. And I don't have any. Gravel, sand, and light gray. And so we get to a point where we clear a floor, and then he's like, oh, what do you guys do next? And I'm like, well, I guess we continue up the path. And the sorcerer, he's like, yeah, we continue up the path. And he's like, oh, as soon as the sorcerer pokes his head out to the next floor, all these guys attack him. And the sorcerer's like, I'm not next in line. And he's not. On the map, he's not next in line. My thief is. And my thief has higher AC and can like have 1 hit per attack kind of thing from damage, making her pretty powerful. And so and he's like, well, fine, then they all attack her when she pokes her head up. I'm like, yeah, but you can't surprise because we knew it was coming. And he's like, no, it's a surprise round. And I'm like, no, there are no surprise rounds at 5e. You won't let us surprise. You also don't get to surprise. The rules state if you're combat ready, it can't be surprise. We're definitely combat ready because we're already in the dungeon with our weapons out, cautiously moving upwards. He's like, fine, then roll initiative. So I rolled highest initiative with my thief, and so we killed those guys. Actually, it was pretty brilliant. I sent the sorcerer a message. I'm like, shoot the floor out, because they were all standing in the middle of this wooden floor. And so he did. He rolled a 20, which is a crit. So he did double damage, and the whole floor collapsed, and all the guys fell. And I'm like, well, we can kind of ignore them now because you've stated multiple times there are no windows or entrances for the outside of this place, and so they can't go anywhere unless they brought rope with them. And I don't think rope is something that a guard normally carries with him. So I'm pretty sure they are stuck and they can wait for us. And he's like, well, they'll climb. I'm like, okay, they could climb, but remember, they climb at half speed. And, yeah, so we cleared the place. He almost killed my cleric again, but relentless endurance stopped that. And, yeah, so that was our D&D night. Um, and then he hates that we have money, and he's always trying to get us to spend it, and I don't understand why, because there's nothing to spend it on. Nobody's ever got potions we need. Nobody's ever got armor we need. And so he came up with this strange thing where they were sending a caravan back to a town nearby, and they included a letter to us that they could get us magic potions and items, and we could tell them what we wanted, and they would try to get it, and they would get whatever they could with the money we sent back. And so each of my characters sent 1,000 gold because I haven't found anything to spend it on, and I told them what I wanted. I actually don't remember what I said at this point, though, for my thief. I know my cleric wanted a new two-handed weapon because I've switched to two-handed weapons. If I've got to be a frontline fighter, then I want to put out more damage than he currently does. A war cleric is not a good frontline melee fighter, let's just say. And I mean, it could be if he's using two-handed weapon, but he's not. And so I want to get that two-handed weapon. So I sent 1,000 gold to try and get +1 magic weapon. And so we finished our fight into the fire cult, is who we were fighting last night. And we went back to town, and when we got to town, I'm like, so how long do you think it'll be before they get back with that stuff we sent money for? And he's like, it'll be at least a week from when you requested it. Like, okay, so it's been like, what, 4 days? 2 days out to fight the fire cult, 2 days back, that's 4 days, right? Plus the time we spent fighting. And he's like, I suppose. I'm like, well, then you want to just hang around in town for 3 days and wait for him to get back and see what we get? And he's like, I think you should move on to the water cult. And I'm like, well, I think I want to wait 3 days to see if they can get that two-handed weapon I want. And he's like, well, I don't know how long it's going to take them. I'm like, well, we'll just wait in town until that happens. What difference does it make at this point? We can't get into any place until we finish this water cult, and I don't think the water cult's going anywhere. So we'll wait. And he's like, I don't think I want you guys to upgrade your gear before you go after the water cult. You guys already have too easy of a time as it is, anyways. He's angry that we don't die. He is literally angry that we don't die. Uh, yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna wait. I don't care how many days it takes for him to get back. We're gonna wait. Uh, and if he says something stupid like The caravan is waylaid by bandits and you lose all your money. Then I am never doing anything like that again. Because we joke that we're not allowed to do anything fun. Because every time we come up with something that's even remotely creatively fun to us, like knock the tower down, we're not allowed to do it. Every time. Every time. In fact, there was a point where the sorcerer has gauntlets of ogre strength, and he wanted to throw one of the guys off the tower, and he was told he could do a shove attack, which is 5 feet, and so I said 5 feet was just about enough to get you off either side of the tower, and so then that's when the distance changed from 2.5 squares for 5 feet to each square was 5 feet. It was 2.5 squares for 5 feet when his guys were doing stuff, the enemies. But when it came time for us to do stuff, and I finally we have a separate chat for just me and the sorcerer, and I'm like, dude, just use your spell. Just go ahead and use your spell, your shocking grasp spell. Get your turn over. He's not gonna let you shove him. We can't do anything fun, you know that. And he's like, fine, I'll just use shocking grasp then. Because he wouldn't let him. He wouldn't let him shove that guy. Even though, according to the map, and up to that point, according to the map, it was 5 feet to the edge of the tower, and the guy would have fallen. It suddenly wasn't 5 feet when he wanted to just shove a guy, a low-level, nobody bad guy, off into a hole instead of killing him. I don't understand why it's such a big deal, but man, to this DM, everything is a huge fight. And I don't mean the bad guys. Alright, with that, I'm going to call it a day. So click, leave a like, subscribe, share, catch the next one, and I will talk to you later.